Hi, everybody. It's Michelle here at Solo in Canada Musings from Midlife. And today I'm going to do a little bit of a tour of Barrie, Ontario's waterfront. I'm using my bike today to get along further. A lot of people will come to use their bikes, but they also come and they walk and they use the waterfront trail very well. Believe it or not, I know it doesn't look like it based on the view that you see right now, but I am actually in the heart of downtown Barrie because downtown Barrie is situated right on Kempenfelt Bay, which is a part of Lake Simcoe, a very large lake in central Ontario. And what you see behind me is a metal sculpture by Canadian artist Ron Baird. This is a sea serpent. And he also created another sculpture, the Spirit Catcher. It's a thunderbird, representative of Indigenous culture, which is such a part of our history here in Simcoe County, which I will show you a little later as well and give you a little bit of details on both sculptures. But here I am beginning my cycle. And where I am is I'm at the very beginning of the paved trail that goes around the bay to the south shore. But right where I'm standing, there is also a pea gravel trail, which is the old Simcoe Rail Trail that heads up to Aurelia and beyond. And so I'm going to start on that trail and then turn around and come back and then go around the bay. The waterfront trail, it starts way over there and it goes around the bay as I rotate my camera. And over in this corner, you will end, the pavement trail will end, but then you'll get onto a pea gravel trail that really is an old rail trail. And that will take you forever. You can cycle your way on these old rail trails that have been converted to walking and cycling trails. You can go all the way up to Aurelia, which in a car would be a half an hour drive. Then you can change direction a little bit and head all the way to Coldwater and wind your way through to Midland, and just this whole area of central Ontario you can actually get through a network of these rail trails. So I've spent about a decade cycling these trails and really loved it. So one of the things I'd like to share with you is just how beautiful this city is. Now, Barrie is a city that has about 165,000 people who live here. It's a mid-sized city, about an hour's drive north of Toronto. I think it's about 90 kilometers from city center to like downtown to downtown. But it's actually a very popular city for a lot of people to just come and use, even though they're not living here in Barrie, mostly in the summer because of the huge lake that it sits on. And Barrie is located within one of the bays. So believe it or not, what you see behind me is actually just the bay called Kempenfelt Bay. A lot of people come here who live within an hour or two's drive, and they will come just to use the beaches. Maybe go out for dinner, but mostly they're just using the waterfront. The rest of Barrie is mostly just suburbs and your big commercial box stores and lots of schools and lots of neighborhoods for families to raise their kids. We're going to head down a path that follows past that large condo and further on into the lake, not into the lake, along the lake shore, the north shore. And those are the downtown waterfront condos that we'll get to when we go back in that direction. So right away, before I even get on my bike, this is a fishing pier that was built a few years ago because so many people do like to come down to the waterfront and then just pick a place on the rocks to put their rod out in the water. So they created this nice fishing pier, and I can see some paddlers in the distance. There's just a really tiny beach just past that tree that people like to either launch a kayak off of or let their dogs go in the water. You can put your dogs in the water off the shoreline, but not off the public beaches. So from time to time, when you're on the rail trail, you'll come across this signage that gives you a little bit of education about the area and a map to help you figure out where you are. So this is at the beginning, right beside that Mexican restaurant. This is the Pilgrim Route, a walking pilgrimage trail from Barrie to Martyrs Shrine in Midland. And there's often also on these plaques pictures from 100 years ago, black and white, showing how people were living on the water or in that area by the trail at the time. So it's actually a real education too. I really love that component. The homes and condos along this rail trail path really have quite a beautiful place to live. Some are old apartment buildings, but some, like this resort condo that got built recently, haven't checked their prices lately, but maybe about 5 years ago, the prices were starting at $1 million. This is actually their private dock, but a lot of people use it anyway. I don't know if there's any trouble over that. I have no idea. But it sure would be nice to live in an apartment that opens right up to this path so that you can do your walking and your paddling and your cycling all right from your doorstep, wouldn't it? Um, Generally, it's safe. To be honest with you, I wouldn't come here in the evening myself alone, although that could be more in my head than a reality. Um, Barrie is on general a pretty safe city, and with any city that you get, yes, even here in Canada, you will get crime. If you stayed on this path, it would take you to Johnson Beach, the beach on the North Shore that I mentioned, where the sailing club operates out of, and where people use that as a small beach. It gets really packed because it is really small. So it is maybe perhaps a little too busy for anybody who doesn't like to be smack dab beside other people. And then past Johnson Beach, you will go further, and you will start to head through Oro and up towards Aurelia. I'm turning back now because I have time constraints. So I'm going to turn back and go back to the paved path and go around the Barrie waterfront. There are a lot of gardens around the Barrie waterfront path as the city spends money to try to attract people to use its waterfront and to present it as at its best. And there are many large groups on the weekends that will come up, sporting groups training together, or families coming to spend the day and picnic, and we all share the same space. I think the city has done a really nice job of trying to keep nature a part of our waterfront. Just the other day, I saw a heron here. I'll insert the picture so you can see it's quite beautiful. And I'll just let you know that I'm giving you an honest account from the point of view of a midlife plus woman. It's my perspective of Barrie and its waterfront. It might not be everybody's. So I'm giving you a lot of the great things about it, but I'm also pointing out a few negatives that you won't see in Barrie brochures or when realtors are trying to convince you to buy a place up here. So this welcome to Barrie sign, they put up, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. Just a few meters up from the pond and across the street, they are setting up for, the sign says, some kind of skate demo at 2 p.m. This is Meridian Square. It's where a lot of the festival entertainment occurs. In the summers, this is where the outdoor theater will play popular movies, and people can come and sit down, watch the movie. And it's hit and miss. Sometimes there's a lot going on here. Sometimes it seems like nothing's going on. But you know, there's a rib fest that was here last week. Sometimes it seems kind of seedy, and other times it seems like a vibrant, positive place. So I think it kind of depends on the day how it's being used. Well, I hope you're finding this little tour of Barrie's waterfront interesting for any of you who's not from Barrie to see what it's about. I'm at the bottom of Bayfield Street, which is really not far at all, just 2-minute walk, not even 1-minute walk from the pond I was just at. And the sign behind me tells me that the Sea Cadets, who normally operate out of this building, are moving. They are moving to the South Shore, and we are about to get a convention and performing arts center here in downtown Barrie. Across the street from here is the old bus shelter, which a lot of the city buses still operate out of. Not all of them, because a lot of them have moved to the new depot by the old Allendale train station. But yes, this is where all the buses used to come in and out of town. Just around the corner from the Cadets building is the Spirit Catcher, created by Canadian artist Ron Baird. He also did the Sea Serpent. It was created for Expo 68, maybe? No, Expo 86, and relocated to Barrie in 1987. And it is Thunderbird, an indigenous symbol. And the interesting thing about this metal sculpture is not just the weight of it, it's all separated. All the feathers are separate so that they move independently of one another in the wind. And it's right on a little improvised hill with steps going up to it on the waterfront. So you see it as you come into Barrie if you're coming in via the water. To the right is the marina. So I'm already away from the sound of the road mostly. And this is our marina, which shockingly does not look like downtown, does it? And yet, if I just turn my head to the right, I see I am at the bottom of Bayfield Street and the lakeshore, the heart of downtown. Washrooms for the people who have boats here, and showers. So, because this is downtown Barrie, this is where all the condos are. So, this is, of course, a boat marina where people will store their boat. A lot of people don't store it here. They'll store it in Innisfil or other locations outside of downtown Barrie because, as I understand it, it's very costly to put your boat in here. There's a lot of ducks right now with ducklings. These ducks don't have ducklings, but I'm passing some little families quacking away as they swim between all of the boats. So hopefully I'll come across one and I can get them on. But I don't know about you, but to me this is just a dream. Spending my morning, first thing in the morning, in this type of environment does wonders for the soul, for your nervous system. The city tries to organize a lot of weekend events at the waterfront. So probably every other weekend there is something either small or big going on down at the waterfront of Barrie. You'll have rib fests and Caribbean festival. And there are movie nights, outdoor viewing movie nights. There are musical bands playing. There's a big giant show once a year here called Camping Fest. All of the vendors come, and I'll do a little video on that when they arrive. I think it's always the first week of August, and you get hundreds and hundreds of vendors who are here. Usually lasts for 4 or 5 days. About 100,000 people will come through Barrie to visit Camping Fest, and a lot happens at Camping Fest. There are often a lot of sport-related events. So there's a dragon boat race where people are rowing and racing for charity. There are triathlons and fun runs. And then in the winter, there's something that happens in February when the lake is frozen over, and they will have sort of a winter fest too. And the city puts a lot of money into keeping it, beautifying this area, because this is where they know that they attract tourists to their city. So there are security guards that are hired to always be patrolling in the area, keep things safe, or as safe as can be in a city. Now this is a floaty village for people age 5 and up, all the way to adults to be able to spend some time on. I think you get 2 hours of play on it for a particular fee. Behind it, Centennial Beach, which is quiet right now because it's only around 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But you will start to see a lot of people arrive, and they will enjoy that beach right from now until 9 o'clock at night. There are barbecue pits over there, and you will see entire families, multi-generational families that will come for the entire day. Most of them don't appear to be locals. They appear to be people coming in from another city and spending the entire day kicking around a soccer ball, playing in the water. The kids are at the park. And I'm not going to film the park because it's children, but the park is fully accessible for kids with special needs. And the city is spending a lot of time and effort and money trying to make the waterfront a place, a destination, much to the disappointment of Barrie residents who enjoy the quiet of the waterfront from years past, but you can't stop progress, right? And so, it is what it is, right? But you can see people will come and fish right here. The lake is perfectly clean. There's no industry on it. So whatever you fish, you can eat. There used to be an awful lot of fishing derbies, summer and winter. I have noticed the last decade, they have really scaled back. And it's down to a few. There are a few fishing derbies that I see advertised. And also I see people renting Sea-Doos from here. They can rent bikes from here. I see there's a scuba diving club that has been here for years and years. I will also see buses coming for the day of senior citizens or of day camps. As always with development, you're always trying to balance the economy and development with the environment. And so here we are downtown Barrie, but they've got this little area cornered off, and they're letting it grow to a wild meadow so that the bird life and insects have a place to be. And an educational poster to let you know why it's there, what it is, what is the purpose of it, and why is it important. They've even got, an explanation if you want more about how to have a meadow develop. And they even have a QR code so that you can get the app and discover how you can use native plants in your garden to attract pollinators, which is what I've been doing for the last 5 years. This area of Barrie is under the authority of the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority, and They have really strict rules about what you can do when you're building and using chemicals on the waterway here. And so anybody building here, if they fall under that area on the map, they have stricter codes than the city codes. There are markers along this whole downtown trail letting you know you're just past marker number 8. It gives you the map of the whole trail around the bay. It tells you how far you've gone. Lots of ducks in the pond today. Here we have marker 7, and marker 7 is all about the industry in Barrie historically. This is a whole heritage trail, so it's going to tell you about, all the things that used to be. So this is, you have these that last, whatever they're made out of, they survive in the winter too. These have been here for a long time, and they're still just as good. You can read everything on it. You can see the pictures. And yet, this location right here, because it's right where the bay is, in the winter, it can be severe blizzards. The wind's super high, minus 30, minus 35. And it looks like you're in the Antarctic, in a barren wasteland with the blizzard conditions. But whatever they make these out of, they last. So kudos to the city of Barrie for that. And I'm so glad they did it, because there are a lot of people who have moved up here. So, it's important that you know the roots of the place you live. So if they can teach you a little bit about who was here and what they did before your time, I think that's excellent. It's empty today, but after about 4 o'clock, you will see a lot of people down here right until nightfall, which in the summer is 9 o'clock, playing basketball. Old guys, young guys, families, you name it. This is where the train will come in and leave out of if you are heading south through towns between Barrie and Toronto, and the end of the line is Union Station in downtown Toronto. And this train service is a godsend, because you don't have to take your car into the city if you don't want to. And you can buy a day pass, which will get you downtown and back, and you can use the train as often as you want on that day for $10. So you really can't beat that, can you? So this is the Tiffin boat launch. There's a small parking lot. People can leave their vehicles with their boat trailers while they're out on the bay. You will see people launching many different types of fishing boats, speedboats, and sea-doos from this location. And yes, it is paid parking. And so the walking path and the biking path now split. The walking path hugs closer to the shoreline. The biking path separates a little bit and follows along the roadway for a time until they meet up again, just past the washrooms and the picnic area. I'm on the South Shore now, having passed the train station. And right now, the South Shore Community Center, which was just given a new name after a particular military general, because they're turning it into a bit of a military corner with the Sea Cadets parade ground there and with a military garden, but I don't remember the new name. It's all under fencing right now, unfortunately, because of the renovation. But the Barrie Rowing Club operates out of the basement of that building. And people do rent that building for all kinds of community events. And I've seen weddings there. And there's a floating dock, which is supposed to be private property of the Rowing Club. Now, if you are not from Barrie and you plan to be bringing a car and you want to walk to everything, so you plan to park at the waterfront, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. It's $15 an hour or a maximum of $60 a day. If you live in Barrie, you have a resident pass. And that is because the amount of expense from our property taxes that goes towards maintaining this environment, keeping it clean, keeping all the garbage collected every day, the gardens beautified, keeping it safe with the extra policing, extra security, and running of all the events. It takes a lot of money to pay for that. And it would be too draining on the citizens of Barrie from their property taxes to pay for all of the upkeep for people who don't live here. Wind usually picks up around 10. Women, history of women in the military. This is all sort of a military garden, and there will be some monuments honoring the battles. First World War, Second World War, the Canadian Victoria Cross recipients. An explanation of the Battle of Vimy Ridge, World War I, and what trench warfare was like in World War I. Pretty miserable. I do have to say that the vast majority of people you meet in Barrie will be friendly and polite and respectful. You know, most of the citizens are pretty welcoming here on the waterfront. But it seems like when people are down here to use the waterfront, they're in recreational mode, maybe a little less stressed and more willing to look around, see who else is here, interact with them, and make attempts to be respectful. So that's nice to see. So we are nearing the end of this little waterfront trail, because coming up ahead there's just a little incline, and you go in between two small forests, and then that's the end of it. And then you head into a residential area. Well, I've had a lot of fun cycling around Barrie's waterfront this morning, showing you some of the favorite things that I like about the waterfront. It is time for me to turn around and ride back the other way, and I am going to take a break and have a cold drink and find some shade, and then ride the rest of the way without you guys. So you guys have a good day, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.